Hey y'all, I'm in the middle of another project and thought I'd stop and take time, share it with you. I shoot a lot, and one of the things I love are these AR500 plate steel targets. They put up with a lot of abuse and they last a long time. The weakness is the attaching system. Some people use straps, cables, chain. I've used all of the above. And the trouble is a lot of swinging with the chain or any strap. And the chains or cables that attach to it, inevitably you're going to have somebody shoot, cut the chain, then you got to stop, take all this mess off and reset. I've got a way that I've been pistol shooting. I've got another way that I hold these up, and I'm about to incorporate it into all of my rifle targets like this. Let me show you what I do. This is generally how I shoot pistol, with a silhouette target and AR500 steel. And this is the setup for the system. It's real simple. I use a T-bar post, put in the ground, slightly angled towards me, and a piece of 2-inch angle iron that is attached to the plate with carriage bolts. And on top of the steel, you cut a T, just so it fits over this. It lets it swing a little bit, and it does a great job. And you've got one thing to do: drive this in the ground and set it on it. It doesn't get a whole lot simpler than that. Don't need any special tools to make this. You need a drill and a saw. So let's show you how we do it. All right, here's what we're using. A piece of 3/8 inch AR500 plate steel. And again, we're using this as our mounting plate. The round targets like this need to be mounted. I don't know that it's a necessity. I personally just feel better about it. The silhouettes I mount just like this, and I let the T-bar post stick out the top. Reason being, the silhouettes have that extension coming out the top, like the head of your target. We don't have that here. So we'd have this thing sitting up just waiting to be hit if somebody's not aiming properly. So what I do is I turn it over and mount it like this. That way the protrusion of that T-bar post coming out doesn't extend past the back of our target. Pretty simple. Let's get started. Okay, now we make our cuts. And when I cut this angle iron, I'm gonna make basically 3 cuts. I'm gonna cut the length of the ears. It's gonna be the width, the width here of the ears. Then on the back side that mounts here, I'm gonna come back in, offset it, and cut it so it doesn't hang out here. You'll see, makes sense. I'm using a chop saw because I have it. Y'all could use a saw, regular saw, whatever you have. And that's what we have. Then we just finish these little cuts up with a right angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and we'll be ready to roll. All right, that's how it's going to mount, just like that. Now if you want to, come in where it hangs out right here on each side. You just cut that off, and it's just less of this bracket hanging out which is susceptible to bullets. It will get torn up. It's not necessary, but it'll be nice to clean up. After that, then just mark for holes, drill that, then we come back in, find center, and put our T in for our post. There you go. Just make sure that when you do your holes, you give yourself enough room for whatever size carriage bolt you decide to use. It's better for it to be a little bit bigger, move around, it's not a problem. Just make sure that that will accommodate your target. Now, we need to go measure and find center, get our marks, and get that T cut out. Okay, here is a representation of what we need and what we have. Here's our T-bar post. And our T-bar post, let's just, for argument's sake, say it is 1.5 inches wide by 1.25 inches deep. And how this fits on here is like this. It slides right down over it. And these tabs on the post catch our target. Now, while I'm talking about the tabs, these things are cut kind of arbitrarily. They're not always in the ideal spot. And this one here is a little close to the top. So what you might find that you need to do, your particular post, you may need to cut it off so you have a good bit to get down on the angle iron and seat correctly. Okay, that being said, mounts like that. So what we need to do is transfer that to here. And that's what we need. Just come back from this front plate just a little bit, like 1/4 inch, and there is our 1.5 inches wide by 1.25 deep. And I'm going to cut inside all of that. So basically, I'm going to have a, I'm going to do about a 3/16 inch T in here. I'm going to drill holes here and use a saw or cutoff wheel to take everything out. Okay, ugly T. Let's go see if it fits. Well, here's why we test fit, and I went ahead and cut the top of my T-bar because it was bent pretty bad. But you see, it's not a true T. So the trouble that we have is this center section is bigger. So what we're going to need to do is just go in and open that up a little bit, and then we should be good to go. So here's what my finished shape looked like. See, it's open more in the center, and that's the structural support in these T-bars that help them. But in doing that, we're set. So either way you go. Now let's go get it mounted up. Okay, so now we're getting to the simple stuff. We're about ready to try this thing out. So our plate, said we need a couple of carriage bolts, nuts, a couple washers. Slip the carriage bolts in. Put your bracket. Put you on a couple washers. Of course, you notice that these bolts are a lot longer than they need to be, but it's what I had in the bag. Okay, now we're ready. Go pound this in the ground at an angle and mount this joker up. So now we're ready to put it in the ground. And remember I said to cut them off for different lengths. Well, I don't want this for me, I don't want it way up here. So let's take off the side. And these are nice if you have them. And of course, you don't want it straight up and down. You want it angled a little bit. What that helps with is the bullet deflection. It even aids in it wanting to deflect and go right down into the ground. So, enough. We take our little plot, set it on, and we're ready. Now we need to try it out. Well, now comes the best part of all of our hard work. We're gonna try it out. Let's do, this is about 20 yards. And I'll move the camera down so you can see the how it deflects. Well, I noticed it seemed like a long, drawn-out way to show you how to attach a piece of angle iron to a piece of AR500 and mount it on a post, but some people may have not thought about it or have not considered it, and it's the way I'm going to be doing things now, just a lot less for me to keep up with. So, as usual, I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck with your projects.